Hey everybody, hey everybody, hey everybody. Tonya Fairbanks here, and welcome to Live in the Bold, a space for real, unfiltered conversations about love, loss, and healing. Today, we're talking about something profoundly personal, the loss of a child. My guest today is someone who has walked through that loss and is graciously here to share her story. This conversation isn't about fixing grief, but sitting with it, honoring it. Whether you're grieving or supporting someone who is, I hope this space helps you feel seen. So let's welcome my friend, former coworker, everything, all the good stuff, Miss Jalita J.J. Williams.
Thank you so much.
Girl.
Even to get your the request is an honor. Like I just very much appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate how you've lived out, just how it is, right? To go through it, you have to live through it.
Yeah.
And so I just appreciate it. I'm honored to be here. Just hopefully my journey helps somebody.
I'm sure it will. I think I've said that to everyone. Like, you don't know how people always say your test is your testimony,
Yeah.
right? But sometimes when you haven't had a testimony to give or you haven't had a test, you're just
Yeah.
kind of like, all right, okay, like just tell me anything. But then afterwards, it's like, okay. And I think a lot of us who have gone through things, this might come off the wrong way. I don't mean it that way. We're selfish in that we keep that, we hold on to that instead of talking about it. And the reason I say selfish is because we don't know who it might help.
Right.
And so I felt like this space, I remember when I started talking about TMB outside of just grief counseling, people were like, you have a story. And I was like, no, I don't. Like,
Right.
but then it surprised me with people reaching out, former students that went here, reaching out and was like, Miss Fairbanks, I lost my baby. Like, well, what did you do? How did you? And I was like, okay, God, all right. So
Wow.
it's my story to tell, but it's not my journey to keep.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No, it absolutely does. Okay.
So tell us about your story.
So I've had two losses, and the first one was 2018. We were about 3 years or so into marriage. We had been trying, and I just remember Labor Day that particular year.
Okay.
I was going to brunch with friends, and suddenly some of the brunch festivities just didn't sit well with me. And I remember later that evening, some other things just were confirmed, like, oh, I might need to take a test. And after years of trying, it feels very strange.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, let me take another one. I used to say,
Right.
I don't see how people need to take 15 tests. Like I was that person.
Right. Yeah. Is it real? No, this is
Let me
real.
do
It's a
this
false
other one.
positive.
Let me do this. This was like
Yeah.
5 days early. Let me go take this one. This was additional. Let me do this one.
Right.
And I just remember it feeling very whimsical in the first month or two after that, because it was something that I had wanted for so long. And I remember different things that people would say, like, you need to hold it close to your chest till you get past those 12 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that was like my first sort of place where I was going to allow myself to just fully enjoy. And I remember when 12 weeks came, there was some new pains and stretching. I remember calling the doctor and saying whatever, and they're like, well, we're just now ready to get you in because contrary to popular belief, you don't find out you're pregnant and go to the doctor the next day.
Right. Nope.
They are like, oh, we'll see you at 10 weeks.
Right.
And you're
You're
like,
like,
10
huh?
weeks?
What? But I'm pregnant now. At least that's what the thing says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I remember being 10, 11 weeks and coming up on that 12th week. Something happened where I felt like a nerve in my leg just did not work. Like literally, I remember waking up to go to work here, and I just couldn't move. And the doctor was like, "Oh, it sounds like sciatic pain. Your body's shifting.
Okay.
These things." And because of my age, they also sent me to see a maternal fetal doctor. And so around that 12th, 13th week, I went to see the maternal fetal doctor, and he said, "Are you in pain?" And I said, "No." He said, "Are you sure?"
What?
And I was like, "No, I'm fine."
Yeah.
I got this little sciatica thing going
Right.
on, but I've been stretching, and I'm telling him, and he's like, "You're in labor." And I'm like, "Well, no, I can't be in labor. I'm like 12, 13 weeks. He's like, "You're in labor. We're going to have to get you in to do a cerclage. Your cervix is starting to open." And so he's like, "It's okay. Sometimes it happens." And so within that next week, I went in for a cerclage. And on the day of the cerclage, it was a Friday. And they sent me home. I felt like they were sending me home fairly soon. I went in that morning, early that morning, for outpatient. And I would say by noon or so, they were, trying to discharge me and send me home. And I had the procedure at a hospital, North Dallas off 75, and in proximity to 75, from the hospital to the freeway, I felt a gush. And I was like, "No, Drew, we got to go back."
Yeah.
And so we get back in, and all the ladies are really, really sweet. And they're like, "Oh, it's probably just the fluid that we use for the procedure," and like this and the third. The doctor wants you to have his personal number. You can call him over the weekend. You can send pictures, but it's fine. And on Monday morning, after a weekend of like taking a few pictures and sending to the doctor, and he's steady reassuring me like, "Oh, it's fine. It's this is that."
Yeah.
And on Monday morning, I went to the bathroom like most do early in the morning, and I felt something that did not feel right. And like most of us do, I love us because we'll be scared, but we're gonna try to diagnose it ourselves.
Right.
And so I'm like, "Let's try this again." And what I felt like feet. And I was like, "Nope, nope,
Yeah.
nope. We're not doing this. Like, this is not what we're doing." And I remember my husband went to take my nephew to school, and he came back and he was like, "What's wrong? Are you not going to work today?" And I was like, "Nope. We got to go to the emergency room." And he's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yep, something's wrong." And I didn't tell him the entire way. I just kind of sat in it and tried to like wrap my head around. And even when when I called the doctor and I told him I was on my way and I asked him to meet me in the ER, he was like, "No, just come to my office. I assure you, you didn't feel what you thought you felt."
Right.
And so we get to his office on like whatever floor of this building, and they check me in like I'm a normal person waiting for an appointment.
Yeah.
And I remember I sat there for a few minutes, and I went back to the desk, teeth clenched, and I told the receptionist, "He needs to see me right now."
Yeah.
And she was just like, "Well, I said, "No, he needs to see me right now." And so they get me back, and people be playing in your face.
Yes.
They still like telling me, and I'm like, "No." So he gets me on the table. "We're just gonna do a quick ultrasound. I'm gonna ease your mind."
Yeah.
He can't find the baby. And I literally see him turn green.
Oh. Yeah.
And I'm like, "I know where the baby is. I told you where the baby is."
Yeah.
And so then he goes to do the exam from underneath, and then he confirms. And then they send me through emergency. But even at that point, what I thought would become a little more sensitive or that there will be some dignity, they sent me to wait in the emergency room where people were having, like in labor, like
What?
like where families are
Yeah.
waiting on their loved ones that are having babies. I'm in the maternity waiting room. And you've confirmed that I'm losing a baby. The baby is gone. There's no heartbeat. But you made me go sit. And what was the worst thing in the world? Somebody was in there that worked with my husband. Two families. He worked at an oil and gas company, and one of them, she's like, "Oh my God, David, who do you know that's having a baby?"
Oh man.
And I just remember sitting there rocking myself like this could not possibly be happening. And so he was like, "Well, actually, we were in the middle of losing a baby." And he said it like he just said it. And even to this day, I have so much respect because he is not one to mince his words. And even in that moment, I don't think he had, I don't think either of us had the wherewithal And, so that was the loss number one. And so it took a couple of years after that for me to get pregnant again. And even like just work through the emotions that were connected to that. So,
I can imagine.
because it was traumatizing. It wasn't just not to decrease anybody else's experience that may, because I don't think it's ever easy.
Right.
But I feel like that was one of the most traumatizing things that I could picture it happening like in that way. And so then to think about like if as long as it doesn't happen like this again,
Yeah.
in some ways it's like, okay, God, like if I could handle that, like I'm still here, I'm still breathing. I'm tired of being your strongest soldier, but we made it through.
Yeah. I can understand that. Like, oh gosh, okay. So you wouldn't put more on me than I can bear, but I feel like this is more.
You
This
want me
is
to
the
do,
more.
I'm clinging.
Right.
To you,
Like I'm on the ledge. What we gonna do? Yeah. Oh goodness. So what happened with the second? So leading up to when you found out you were pregnant, how did that feel?
Yeah. So one, we had told people at 12 weeks, and then at 14, and so we went through that experience with the first baby. We named him Christian Eli, and at that particular hospital, they have like a garden that where you can dedicate your baby and do all that without having to do a actual burial or service because we weren't past a certain like point.
Okay.
So I bought a lot of like memorabilia type stuff.
Okay.
The keychains and the this and that and the third. And remember, Christmas was coming, so we bought ornaments and whatnot. And so, but the second time, I was so very hesitant about sharing anything with anybody. But then there's a duality even in that because it's like in my mind, if something goes wrong, I'm gonna have to grieve by myself because nobody is gonna know.
Right.
I had just barely began telling anybody the first time.
Right.
And it was just like, okay, how do we do this? And I found out I was pregnant maybe November, December, and then the world locked down for COVID.
Yeah.
And so I went through that miscarriage during COVID, and completely different experience, but similar in that the hospitals were completely locked down as far as like who could come in and who could go out.
Right.
So when they took me in originally, I felt like I was in labor. I went in because I was further along. I told them like something's not right, and it wasn't the same situation. I'd had ursoculage again, but it wasn't the same situation as me feeling something externally. I just was like something's not right. Something don't feel right. And I went in and they said, yeah, you're in labor, and my water broke in the ER, and they wouldn't let my husband come in because the hospitals were shut down, and so I just remember being there by myself, and then they were like, looking back on it now, I realized they never gave me an option or they never asked me what I wanted to do. It was like, you're in labor, we're gonna cut the stitch, and we're going to let your body just go through labor.
What?
And the baby's 16 weeks and some change, and like his lungs won't be developed, this, that, and the third. But we're gonna just go ahead and let you go like through the process. And at that time, I didn't know any different.
Right.
And so they let my husband come in, and the room is prepped. Like you're in a room, they have the baby's little bed thing and all the stuff, the scalpels and all the whatever. And so I went through however many hours of labor, and then we have this baby. And we were able to hold him and name him. And he breathed for a strong 7 minutes. I remember looking at the clock at that 7th minute, and I was like, okay, I had to tell myself, there's not going to be a miracle that happens, so I just need to give him back, because I didn't want me to be holding him when he took his last breath. And then we named him Knox Elliott, which is crazy because we passed that 12, 13, 14 week mark. Knox Elliott was my favorite name on my list. And I was like, do we change his name or because if I get pregnant again, I won't be able, like the stuff you think about.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I'm going to go ahead and just name him what I was going to name him. Because the only other name that I had that was on the top of my list was Ezra. That's my grandfather's name. And I was just holding it, like until I get a baby here and he is healthy and strong and like whatever else.
Right.
And so we switched out Ezra for Elliot. And I just, but still like similar grief of like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And why. Because there's not a lot of questions that are answered when the only thing they could tell me is for whatever reason your cervix continues to open. And I'm like, but you're stitching it together. So like, how is it continuing to open? And this particular time you went and cut the stitch. So like, why would you do that? But still no answers. And so, yeah, it just very different moment of grief, having time to just be at home and sit in it because school was closed and just very different situation. God is faithful though, because the stork brought our daughter in between the two. And so to a degree, I have a 1-year-old, or actually less, at that time, who we're all she knows as parents.
Right.
And so I couldn't allow myself to go into this black hole. But again, even in that, like we're taking care essentially we're in this in between of taking care of a baby, waiting, hoping that we'll be able to adopt.
Right.
And then I'm losing babies at the same time. And so it's just like, Lord, what are we doing?
Yeah.
But like I said, he's faithful.
And I think there has to be some feeling of, I don't know, like, I feel like I use this word a lot, dichotomy, right? Because you're happy you have your little girl, right?
Yep.
And experiencing all the things you could with, you
Yeah.
know, a baby girl. But then in the process of, and then losing another child is like, how do you feel the two? And this just popped in my head. Are you giving one more credence than the other? Like, is one, like you're giving it more, I don't know, strength, more attention than the other? Like, are you allowing yourself to feel both of those things at the same time to the same degree?
Yeah.
And if not, is there some type of guilt with that?
So it's funny that you say that because I go through these thought processes, same like thought about grief and duality in multiple different topics. As a mom, as an educator, as a wife, as a mom, biological mom versus, the Jesus brought you.
Yeah.
All of those different things play on like how can you be your best self. And one of the things that a school leader who was my boss, actually the boss that I had right before I started leading a school, she told me you will not always be a great mom and a great school leader at the same time.
That's good.
She said as a black woman and as a leader, these are things she told me over and over. People are going to question you just because of who you are.
Yeah.
There will be things that you've worked for male principals or male, leaders, and there will be things that nobody would have blinked an eye. They would have just did what was asked to do. But you will be questioned because you're a woman.
Yep.
You're going to be questioned because you're black. And then when you become a mother, people will question your commitment to the work and your commitment to being able to be a good mother.
Yeah.
And no true words have been spoken. I think she helped prepare me on many levels with regards to the loss and the grief, and even like, later on we end up having a successful pregnancy. But holding both of those things like in my hand, like
Right.
I am the best mom I know how to be. I'm the best school leader I know how to be.
Yeah.
I'm the best wife I know how to be. And some days it's 70-30, some days it's 50-50, some days somebody getting 100% of me and somebody else is getting nothing.
Right.
But I think we just have to learn to be okay with that. The Bible says one plants, one waters, but God makes the increase. Like you just have to be able to be okay. Like I'm just not in control.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm doing the best I can. And I find that people really do have problems with that. Like I've been told, like, why would you lead a school and you have a newborn? Or why would you,
Really?
yeah, or why would you, and I'm like,
I don't like that at all.
yeah.
I don't like that.
But I'm like, so my babies don't deserve to have the life that I want them to have.
Right.
I don't deserve to have the career that I worked my butt off for.
Right.
And like, people would say things just like completely oblivious or naive to what supports you have in place. For all you know, I could have a nanny, I could have a housekeeper, I could have this and the third. Or I could have none of those things and I could just be like a rock star.
Right. Super mom, super wife. Dun, 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 like.
But the judgment is real. And I think you just have to just sit in daily like, okay, God, whatever you allowed. Because I've tried to be in control of, well, I'm not going to worry about may having a family right now. I'm just going to worry about my career. And that's when I didn't say I gave up on getting pregnant, but I just was like, it's not the top of mind. I'm going to go back and get my master's. Let me go, do this, whatever. And then here I am, accept the job, and then a month later I find out I'm pregnant. And it's like, so this did not work out like I thought it was going,
But that's what you get for planning, right?
Yeah, God is like, oh, okay. What else you got up your sleeve?
Think you running something? Okay, let me show you. Let me show you. So, in your first miscarriage, what do you remember most about that time? Physically, emotionally, or spiritually? Or all three?
I think on an emotional level, I just couldn't wrap my head around, I guess, thinking if you have to wait, then if pregnancy just is, because, growing up, they had us believe if you touched a boy, if you got too close to him, you were going to be pregnant. So I was always like terrified. And so, this is at this point, this is my second marriage. We tried in my first marriage, and it just wasn't God's will, and the marriage didn't end up working out, which is fine. But then by the time we got to the point, we're 3 years in, we've traveled, we've done the things, and we're in like mid-30s, and I'm like, God, this isn't fair. I've tried to do the things right. And I remember, I don't, some people would say it came in like a still voice or like whatever, but I just remember having moments with God where he would just kind of push back and like, what makes you so like special?
Yeah.
Do you not trust me? Do you not think that my plan is better than your plan? And then I realized like they're emotionally for me, you and I are similar in this. We can be quite cerebral. In order to wrap your head around something, you have to start like, there has to be some logic to it. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, God must have known that either something wasn't going to be right or their experience here on this earth wasn't going to be what he wanted it to be. Like I start rationalizing like, this, and then I think I came up when I was buying some little trinket. It said your grandma in heaven loved you so much that she wanted to keep you, and so it was those little things that made me like, okay,
Yeah.
when I could start to envision that my baby was safe and that my baby was in the arms of the Lord and my baby was in the arms of my grandma or like whoever, those things helped me to like process that it was okay that the child wasn't here with me. Because one thing I can never say or do, because I believe God, there will never be a time that anybody is better here with me than he is with the Lord.
Very true.
And so it's things like that that I have to connect. I have had and continue to like tell myself like, because that is the best, the safest place.
Right.
This in the hope, like the safest place. You know, the song says the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run in and they are safe. Like,
Yeah.
Can I just run into your name? Can I just to be able to fully, I don't know if use is the right word, but use the scripture to deal with the reality of like the if I'm looking at it being a strong tower, I look at it like it's a lighthouse, and I'm like, my baby is there. And so those are the things, and even in losing other people, those are the same like things that I feel like I've had to learn to tell myself when those moments get really hard.
Girl, got me over here crying. But I knew it was gonna happen. I knew I was gonna cry because I'm a big baby. But also, like, it made me think with Tiambi, and I would tell people and say all the time, I don't know what her quality of life would have been.
Yeah.
And so, because of that, I'm like, okay. And when you were talking about the cerebral stuff, I was thinking, I say a lot. She served her purpose. She did what God sent her to do.
Yeah.
Because I was on the verge of kidney failure and didn't know it, and would not have known it had it not been for the tests that they had to run.
Wow.
And to the point where, like, something, I think it's ketones, whatever.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be like a 5, I think is the highest number. I was at 4,000.
Oh my.
My kidneys were about to shut down.
Oh my.
And they were like, well, only thing we could do is a biopsy, see what's really going on. I couldn't take any medicine, couldn't do anything. And so I remember after losing her, having read an article that said it made mother's intuition kind of more scientific. But it was like it's a real thing because, former science teacher, cells reproduce.
Yeah.
So the baby's blood and your blood are mixing back and forth. Their cells are in your body. So you feel when something is going on with your child because it's on a cellular level. So her and your child's cells, because they're reproducing, stay in your body until I think they're 21, it said. So her cells are in me, healing and regenerating my kidneys. And I was like, that's what her purpose was.
Yeah.
Because there has to be a reason. There has to be a reason why God would take her.
Yeah. Yeah.
With me being 40.
Right.
And that's my only child.
Yeah.
And possibly the one that I'll only ever have based on science.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, I wasn't trying to make this about me.
No.
It made me think about that and how, I say it a lot. She served her purpose.
Yeah.
And it took me a minute, but I was saying, God, I give her back to you.
Yeah.
Like, thank you. And I was the opposite of you. Because I held her. I don't know when she took her last breath. I don't know if she was in my arms or in Carlos's arms. But I held her. It was like, you're okay.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
But just the strength, right? Because you were full term.
Yep. And she lived for 3 days. And came out perfect, right? Like how every parent would think that their child is. And she was. I say a lot. I don't tell this part a lot, but it was how you were, how the hospital, they weren't listening to me. And I was like, I have this, you just gave me this catheter. Something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I have to it's like I got to use the back, like I've been holding pee.
Yeah.
Turns out I developed a UTI. Mm-hmm. The bacteria that came, I found out after she had passed. Mm-hmm. The bacteria that I had from the UTI is the bacteria that, of course, got into her. It was antibiotic resistant. Mm. And so she went into sepsis. Mm. And she passed. Jesus. And it was just like, okay. But my best friend told me, she said, have you ever noticed that things happen to you in threes? Mm. And I was like, huh? She was like, 3 is a significant number in your life. I don't think you've ever paid attention to that. And I was like, no, like, who? 3s? And then she was like, well, just to make it even more, because, preachers, kids, all that stuff, we always got to tie stuff back to our growing up in church. She was like, well, there was power in Jesus going Friday and coming back Sunday. Like, that's power. Mm-hmm. That's 3 days. Mm-hmm. There's a Holy Trinity. She was here for 3 days. Mm-hmm. There's power in that. Yeah. So, trust in that.
Yeah.
So that's helped me a lot. Just thinking, okay, all right, she did what she was supposed to do.
Yeah. And
even though I didn't understand it at the time, and I was angry with God at the time, pissed off at God. Yeah. And I can say that laugh, but I really was. I was so mad, but at the same time, casting everything onto him. Why? Well, help me, please.
Right.
So that...
Because the thing about when you're a true believer, there's nothing that I know that God cannot do.
Right.
So it's kind of like, it wasn't that you couldn't have done it. Mm-hmm. You chose not to.
Yeah.
And so that's something you have to grapple with too. Mm-hmm. Because God, you can do anything.
You're right.
So why not this? Mm-hmm. But then, like I said, you get to a point where you're like, okay, your ways are not my ways, your thoughts are not mine. I don't know why. I may never know why. Mm-hmm. But I know if you could have,
yeah.
And it's interesting because even on my journey with the third pregnancy, I went in preemptively in between 2020 and 2021 when I got pregnant, that 6-month gap. Mm-hmm. They wanted to do a what is called a transabdominal cerclage. They are not they're not widely used. Mm-hmm. I mean, I actually had to find a support group on social media because I didn't know anybody that ever had one. Right. And so basically they make an incision, kind of like a C-section, and they go in and they place the cerclage higher up so that when you get pregnant, there is everything just stops. Yeah. But the negative in it is that when you get pregnant or any pregnancy after that has to be a cesarean because you will never have another vaginal birth. And so when I got pregnant the third time, of course, I'm trying to do all the things, and I made it up to, it was 21 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm starting to show, we are doing good.
Yeah, this is it.
And same thing, I started having this pain, called the doctor, very similar to what I felt like was a UTI. Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, no, you just probably need to drink some water and some, cranberry juice and whatever else.
See,
and
listen to us. Please.
And same thing. And so I ended up in the emergency room. And this time I switched doctors because I've had 2 situations with my first OB. Not that I don't feel like she did anything wrong, but I just wanted to try somebody different. And so I went ahead and went through emergency because the MFM wasn't listening.
Okay.
I went through emergency, and I told them, I said, I'm in pain, like cramping pain. And they were like, do you think it's Braxton Hicks? And one thing I want to say, and I will name them, at Methodist Midlothian, those people in there in that ER that night, the Lord allowed them to be there. They were like, I told them, I said, I lost 2 babies. I'm trying not to lose this baby. Please don't make me jump through hoops. Like, please put me on some antibiotics. Something is wrong. I have a UTI, like something is wrong. And they were like, we got you. And the nurse started praying, and the other one, and they doing all the things, and they're hooking me up. And they were like, we're gonna be fine, you're gonna be fine. You're 21 weeks. And they had me to move from one of just like the regular emergency room beds to a gurney, because they were thinking they were gonna have to transport me to a bigger hospital. And when we moved, my water broke. And this is now the 3rd time.
Right.
And I'm hysterical. And they're like, no. This is not the end. Look at the monitor. The baby's heartbeat is still strong. Now, mind you, this is the first time this has ever happened where they are monitoring the baby still after my water breaks. And I'm like, but y'all, it's over. My water broke. The baby is not far enough along. They were like, we're gonna, what is the helicopter? We're gonna medevac you to Cooks. Why?
Yeah.
Cooks is a stage 4, the best NICU in the region, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But my water broke. And they're looking at me. She's like, hey,
Wasting time trying to talk to you,
She's like, let me do some vitals in this, that, and the third. Your baby is going to be okay. I am just like, something, these people, okay. But I'm going to go with it. I'm like, Lord. So she's like, just go back to praying. Yes, ma'am. Okay. I can do that. So they decide not to do, because my water did break in the process of all that, they decide that they can do the ambulance. So Drew drives behind the ambulance, and they get me there to a Harris Methodist, which is connected to Cook's Children. And when I got there, I'm in the ER. They taking me through. And the lady that first checked me out, I prayed all the way. I'm speaking in tongue. I could have swore the man in the what's the thing? Ambulance. I think he was praying too. I was just like, let's touch and agree. Come on. We get into the ER at Harris Methodist, and there's a nurse in there, and she says, you're 21 weeks. There's a group on social media that you need to follow called 22 Matters. And she was like, the next several weeks may be difficult, but it's not impossible. And so Drew comes in and with all the, the things, and she tells him the same thing. And so he immediately goes to this page, and we're trying to get settled while they're pumping all this, magnesium and medicines and whatever else, trying to stop my labor. And what we're reading in real time is basically hundreds of thousands of women who have suffered what we now know as PPROM. And it's basically when you go into it's a premature rupture of your membrane and your water breaks. But that the baby does not need amniotic fluid to survive through to full term.
Really?
So then I'm mad again.
Yeah. Right. Because all these other times.
Because, baby number 1, it was a whole different, situation. But the second baby, you cut the stitch. He was in there.
Yeah.
And too big to, come down into the cavity like the first baby.
Yeah.
So he was going to be in there until. And now, mind you, there are great risks for babies at that age to go without amniotic fluid. Tons of we've seen babies even in the NICU when we ended up in the NICU, babies that had feeding tubes and other just gestational and cognitive delays because they were deprived of water or whatever. or maybe when they were finally born, their lungs were still not developed enough, or like whatever.
Yeah.
But basically, what we learned in 22 Matters, what was confirming and bothersome, is that you have a host of women who've had to get together to create a group on social media so that we can share the myriad of advice that we're getting from our OBs. And yes, we all know to some degree that our OBs are practicing, but the arrogance in which they choose not to listen,
Right.
when each individual woman is different, uniquely made. I realize chasing every thought that I have about my body could be like very cumbersome and expensive and like whatever else. But I don't understand how we don't have like a database of like common ways that people have used to treat certain things, and the statistically like how often it worked and it didn't work. And so so I ended up being laid in the what they call Trellenberg position, which is essentially they put me in the hospital almost upside down, head down, head down, feet up.
Oh, wow.
And they kept me in that position for pretty much 24 hours a day, other than getting up to take a shower. And so that kept me pregnant for an additional 4 whole weeks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I went in at 21 weeks and 6 days, so that next day was a Sunday, and a month later, Niles was born at 26 weeks. He was 1 pound and some ounces. And even then, it was the same type of like UTI type infection was taking over my abdomen. And I'd asked them, and this is one of the places where I probably should have, because I've read women say on the app, if they ask you to go in and scope, decline it, because any introduction to bacteria
Right.
could be potentially like harmful. And so I had a scope maybe like Wednesday or Thursday for them to see if they could get an ultrasound, and it was transvaginal.
Yeah.
And then by Friday, I was in pain. And Sunday morning, they were like, "Yeah, we got to get the baby out." And so when they opened me up, there was infection everywhere.
Yeah.
And so again, same, we went through sepsis twice. We went through, and even with that, like, it makes me wonder, you got Tiambi here at this particular facility, you have Niles here at Cook's, and who knows what the levels of trauma care and like,
Right.
and it's those sort of things. I think we talk about equity a lot when we are in education settings, but we don't talk about medical equity. We don't talk about maternal fetal medicine. And I'm not going to get on my soapbox about our current situation. Every day in the last year, I've wished I would have went ahead and gone to
medical school.
No, I don't know if I'm smart enough for that, but I definitely would have went to law school.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, my girl Jasmine Crockett needs some help.
She does.
But,
Definitely does.
But in addition to that, like, the programs that are being cut is because women have kind of been around since the beginning of time.
Just,
a few, million years, but our bodies are not studied.
Right.
And the things that plague us on a daily basis they have such stigma. We are so many things we don't say because it's like ew and it's gross.
Right.
And I so appreciate, like, Kevin on stage last month, he posted a video, I'm pretty sure you saw it, I'm sure we all did, and he was like, women just be out here bleeding, they just be out here doing regular stuff.
And still do,
and we're still doing all the things.
Yeah. We're super women, for real.
Still out here doing all the things. And so it's kind of like, yeah, you're grieving, but girl, go to work. Yeah. Like, yeah, you just had a miscarriage, but you've been off for 5 days. Or we don't feel like what y'all go through is even enough to give you paid vacation.
Yep.
So, like, you're at home trying to count up, am I pregnant at the right time? so that yes, FMLA will protect my job, but who gonna help pay
These
these
bills.
bills? And it's just, there are just so many things that I feel like we still need to fight for, and to be in a time where the rights that our grandparents and our grandmothers got to like see actualized are now being repealed and walked back.
Yeah.
It's defeating, but it's also infuriating because I'm like, so, I mean, I'm only 44. Maybe I do need to go ahead and go to law school because what are y'all doing?
Right.
Like,
Exactly. I've said that because I don't know if you remember, but when I was still here, I was like, all right, at the 20-year mark in education, I'm retiring. I'm finna go be a labor and delivery nurse. And this was
I remember
before
that. I do remember that.
that was before me getting pregnant, all of that, right? And so now, like you said, it's just like I can't believe that this stuff is happening.
Right.
One. And then not even so I think about how old my mom is and how when people were like slavery was so long ago and blah blah, like my mom literally when she was born, TV wasn't a thing.
Right.
They were listening to the radio.
How about when we were kids, it still went off at 10 o'clock?
Yes. You woke up with snow, with the kids probably like, snow. If they see this snow, they have snow
Listen,
on
that
TV.
Star Spangled Banner come on in that
And
flag.
that was it. That was it. It's a wrap. If your TV's still on, you up doing something you're not supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's crazy. It's infuriating. But it also, to me, sheds a spotlight. I think both of our experiences sheds a spotlight on how Black women in particular are not listened to when they are experiencing things in the hospital.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters whether it's like maternal something or just in the hospital. It's crazy to me that I'm a statistic because the medical personnel wouldn't listen to me.
Right. You know, there's a lot of stuff posted on social media, whatever. But here recently, and I'm going to cite this so I'm going to send it to you.
Okay.
But I watched this video yesterday about a guy that basically goes back through the history of like when universal healthcare has been put on the table in this country and how at every turn the reason for not doing universal health care was because it would essentially give universal health care to us.
That makes sense.
And so even when Medicaid has been expanded and like these other things, this is why this 20% out of pocket and this, that, and the third have come about because we needed to pay something.
Yeah. Wow.
And so just going back and listening to the history of some of these things, and it's like, one, why are y'all this mad? Like,
and we just live.
We're just trying to live. We're just
it.
trying to be out here with our families and live the best life, you know, that we could possibly live. And I think, you know, to a degree, there's a blessing and curse of being, you know, we walk with the Lord overall, generally. And so I think that with that struggles come, but how that plays out, like I remember when I went to get the trans-abdominal cerclage, like I said, they cut me from side to side. And I remember they sent me home with basically the equivalent of Tylenol. And my husband calls and he's like, no, like you want her up and walking, you don't want her doing these things. And they sent me home it was like the next morning. And he's like, she needs something, like she's in agonizing pain. And the surgeon said, you're gonna have to bring her to my office. So I literally we had to get me in the car. Driving is the worst possible thing you do after you've had that type of surgery.
I can imagine.
And living in the southern sector, you know, everything is it's a ways. And so I just remember getting there and him looking at me and him looking at my wound and being like, oh, yeah, go ahead and get back in the car. I'm sending something to the pharmacy. But why did it take for me to come here?
Right.
For you to, like, and it's stuff like that. And it's not lost on me. You know, we come from smaller towns. We both in the big city now.
You're right.
But, you know, my family is the Rainbow Coalition. And I have heard stories, and if I needed anything, that I could call another family member that maybe doesn't look just like me,
Right.
and they throw medication
Yep.
at them.
Yep.
And I'm like, but I really don't even want any of this unless I absolutely have to have
Yeah.
it. And then you're not willing to give it to me, because you still have this bias somewhere in you or just in the profession, at large, that I can handle the pain. And I can't.
Cannot.
I don't want to.
That's what I was going to say. And don't want to. But you try to force me to.
Yes,
Which
I don't know.
Sucks. Okay, another question. Many women describe a deep, unseen bond with their babies who passed. Do you feel that connection? And how do you honor their memory today?
So it's interesting. It's a short answer, yes. I have moments when it's almost like the sun can shine a certain way, and I will think about one baby or the other, if not both of them at the same time. We keep saying we're going to plant a tree or two in the backyard, and that we'll like name the trees or like whatever. We haven't gotten around to doing that yet, but I just, on a daily basis, I just am always aware, like that, they are with me, they came, they were, like, I remember being younger and somebody made a comment about, someone posted about their child that they lost on social media. And I was like, well, how long is that person going to continue to post? And I don't, at that particular day and time, I just remember not really knowing what to say because I didn't feel like that was anybody's business one way or another. But now having gone through the experience, I'm like, that was such a very insensitive like thing to say. Like, even if I post about Christian and Knox on a daily basis, they were here.
Yeah.
And even like when I have to, you filling out forms or there's something that you're doing and it asks you how many kids you have, and like, it's just, there are no rules, or it seems like there's not an understanding that women have endured this.
Yeah.
Because even when I look back, I think one of my medical records says spontaneous abortion at the very first miscarriage. That's what medically it's called.
Right.
And so then when people were doing all this arguing back and forth about what was considered life versus not life, and here in Texas, you got these mothers that are basically in substance themselves, and they're trying to decide, do we save her life or can we not, or like whatever.
Just crazy.
And or even like if you're gonna jail somebody because you feel like they've done something for their body, to like, abortion is most times it's not predictable. It is not, there's nothing you can do about it. So just to think about, like, people are constantly going through things that as a society we haven't unpacked. Like, these things are way more normal than we talk about.
Right.
And we haven't provided space, like, for people to be human.
Right.
We just haven't. And now we're weaponizing the unfortunate, like, circumstances that people, like, you're being dealt this hand, and now I got to deal with politician number one. Like, what? So I just think I just keep holding fast, to my own belief that they're in a better place. They're good. And I'm grateful for Niles actually being here. I'm grateful for Naomi and her journey, and just trying to be the best mom that I can. But yeah, I think if you ask me, I have to pause sometimes because I don't know if it's politically correct to say. I have 4 children. I've had 4 children. And to look, I mean, what is it like for you? Like,
So mine, actually did plant a tree. We had Tiambi cremated. And so one of my things was, and actually my therapist told me, she was like, on what would have been her first birthday, So I obviously stayed home.
Yeah.
And I wrote her a letter. And you finna make me cry again. And
It's okay. It's healing for the soul.
true. And her fourth birthday would be Tuesday. I mean next Monday. So it's all the things. And so I sprinkled some of her ashes
Yeah.
in in the roots of the tree. And then we planted it in my mom's backyard along with the letter that I wrote.
Yeah.
And so, um, whenever at my mom's house, I go out and I talk to the tree.
Yeah.
And I went there yesterday and I was like, girl, you're getting so tall.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And other things like, I have a lot of plants.
Yeah.
And there was one monstera that I had that it had a bud coming up when I was going to the hospital. And when it came back, the leaf was fully open. So we named that. There are so many tiambis, girl, around mine and my mama's house. Oh, it's another tiambi. And then so like one sprouted off and we cut this and put this there and this tiambi. And then so we have tiambi like everywhere. And so that actual leaf, the first leaf that I was talking about, it died. Well, on my mantle at home, I have a picture of her in her little cute little outfit that we had her in at her memorial service before we had her cremated. One of my former church friends, that sounds so bad, at a former church, she's my friend, she made a quilt for her when she found out I was pregnant. So we have that, and then the school where I was when I had her, they named a star after her. So all that is on the mantle along with this leaf. And then the last thing, so I have like all these different like things for her, right?
Love it.
We have the
Because I'm believing I ain't going to buy my 2 magnolias.
so like, and when I tell you I have like stuff, so even how you were saying like you had the Christmas tree ornaments.
Yeah.
OU, because we got moved from Mercy to OU because that's like the best hospital in Oklahoma for kiddos, excuse me. They actually made a mold. This nurse made a mold of her hands and her feet.
Oh.
And so I have her hands like this and then little, and also like footprints like down in the mold thingies. We have a Christmas tree ornament, so I put that on the Christmas tree every year. So, like little things like that. I'm like, and even at church, at my current church, Mother's Day, was it 2 years ago? They were giving out roses, right? And so I was just like, I'm going to just zoom on through this. Like, there's no need for me.
Yeah.
And one of the men, he actually stopped me. He was like, no, I have something for you. And he came and brought me this rose.
I would have been on the floor. Just like,
And he hugged me. And then he just started talking. He was like, she's here with you.
yeah.
Like, she's always going to be here with you. And so I was like, I got my ugly cry. Sorry, y'all. But it was one of those, like, so I feel like at times when I was at my lowest or thought I was at my lowest, God was telling me in different ways, I see you.
That's right.
And even though it hurts, and even though you're sad, I'm going to always provide, a way for you to make it through. Yeah. So I've, there have been times when, like, even thinking how you were saying Niles was 1 pound, had sepsis. I used to play the comparison game so much. And there are times that I still do.
Yeah.
Because I think about, I'll say, you see on the news, like, these parents left their child in a car to go do, and I'm like, God, now I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But you took her. Yeah. And then it's that voice, like you said, that's like, but you're still here. Mm-hmm. Your kidneys now, you're in total remission. Like, I have to go back to my nephrologist every year. Mm-hmm. But she tells me all the time, like, you are in total remission. Like, you're a miracle. Mm-hmm. So I say to myself, Tonya, you're a walking miracle.
Yeah.
Because there are a number of people that I've met there's a teacher at my job now who has to go and get, like, there's this procedure. She has to go and get her kidneys scraped because they calcify.
Jesus.
And I'm like, I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Tony, you could have to do that. Or you could have a child here that can't talk, can't do anything for herself because of everything that happened to her when she was first born. Yeah. So I got to praise God anyhow.
Yeah.
Through all of that.
All of it.
And me thinking, even now, like, because the doctors have told me, that was your chance.
Yeah.
And so, even in that, I'm like, God, for real? Come on, God, like, for real? That made me think of, what's the movie with Queen Latifah?
Yeah.
And LL Cool J, and she like, she in the car, she like, come on, why?
Right.
Why, Lord? But like, no, for real, like, why? Why?
These are things that we just will never understand. While we were in the NICU, we were there for 99 days. Ooh. And we went into they have like a family break room where you can put your food or you can go in there and eat or like whatever. And so we were in there one time and there was two teenagers, a mom and a dad, and their baby was had a GI tube and like several other like machines connected to them. I think there was some swelling of the brain. There was some other things that were going on, and the mom was like 16. And I remember her asking me, well, how was your pregnancy? Because she was trying to compare. And I told her up until that 21st week, it had been seemingly normal, but then it all kind of just went left. And so I asked her how her pregnancy was, and she went the full 40 weeks. She said that it was the pregnancy that the books talk about. Like, she said she had read every book. There was no indicator of anything being wrong. And then when the baby was born, something was wrong, something that they didn't catch. And so I just remember bawling, leaving that interaction with her, grieving for her, grieving for her baby. Yes, her baby was alive, but I was thinking to myself, her child is going to have all these challenges and struggles, and she's not even old enough to, be able to really just walk through this. And who knows, like, what her support system looked like or anything like that. But just looking at how, especially when you deal with kids every day, high school kids, and like how their brains and logic tend to work. And it's like, my God. And I just remember they left the hospital a little while before we did. But I always wondered, the more we got closer to leaving, and they were removing tubes, they were removing things, it was, like you said, it's the dichotomy. I'm grateful that he's going home without a feeding tube. I'm grateful that he's going home without a tumor. I'm grateful that he's going home without having to have oxygen. But then knowing how that baby left. And had to like have all of that support. And so I think like no two struggles are the same. Like everybody has their own journey that they have to walk. I just wish there was more, just like a better layer of support. Even if in this country we had the year or the 2 years that most countries have to be at home with their babies and to raise them and it would take away so much pressure to feel like you have to, because 8 weeks seems like a lot, 12 weeks seems like a lot, and it's not. You blink, and then suddenly your baby who is immunocompromised is at a daycare or in spaces where that if you had it any other way, you wouldn't put them in harm's way in that regard, but because of the way things just are, and unless you can find ways to work around the system, or you can afford to stay home, or like whatever. I just feel like there are so many things that systematically we have so much work to do.
Yes, for sure. Most definitely. Like, I would say that's not even a question, but clearly it is because we're talking about it and not living it. So that's how.
Yeah.
Well, that's our time.
Yeah.
We got a lot. We talked about a lot.
We did. We're gonna take over the world.
Right. Yes. One hospital at a time.
Right.
and one politician at a time. That's another story. So, JJ.
Right.
I thank you so much for coming. I'm mad at you for making me cry, but hey, you know, it happens. I do it fairly often, so I don't know why I'm mad at you about it. But I'm pretty sure, I know for a fact, not pretty sure, that there is somebody that you touched with your story, somebody who you helped deal with their story and their circumstance because of you being willing to come and share yours. So, and even teaching us something, like you said, P-POM is not something. Did I say that right?
P-POM.
Okay, P-PROM, excuse me. Is not something that people know about. And
so if your water breaks, don't let anybody do anything.
Right. Just go to the hospital.
Get them to stop your labor.
Yeah.
If they will stop your labor, get them to stop your labor. Hydrate. Another thing I learned from social media, water is not hydrating.
Right.
In and of itself. Come on, science teacher.
Yeah.
I knew that you needed to have some salt somewhere. But those aren't the things we're thinking about.
Right.
So when I'm going in and they're saying that you're dehydrated, I'm like, how? I drank a gallon of water. I really needed some Gatorade, some pickle juice, some coconut water. So it's those things. Yeah, I hope that somebody can just take and be able to help get themselves in a stable position. Because I think the worst thing in the world, and I would say this for me, I probably could say it for you, is when there's something that you know that could be prevented. And you didn't or couldn't based on the information you had at that point in time.
Right.
Like, doctors, come on, y'all got to stop being gatekeepers.
Yeah.
Like,
for real.
I've had so many people say, well, that's not something that the science is out. It's we really don't know if it really works. It's not proven, or that's just something that people do. Okay, well, throw it at the wall.
Right.
Because if it's not gonna hurt me, go ahead and do it. Like, I just really hope that my journey helps somebody to better advocate for themselves.
Yes, for sure. For sure. So I'm sure it has.
You.
Thank you. Thank you. So, live in the BOLD community. I know for a fact that there's no way that you didn't get something from this, from JJ and her story and her experience. So, I don't know. Just do with that information as you will. Advocate for yourself, for your loved one, for somebody that you see on the street that needs some help. Advocate. Because we don't have enough of that in the world happening for faces that look like mine and JJ's. So thank you in advance for doing that. Now, I want you, of course, as always, to go forth. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're experiencing, know that it's not too much. It may feel like it at the time, but it is not too much for you to bear because there is a God who made you along with everything else in the world. And because he made you and he made you in his image, you are his greatest thing ever. You are his greatest accomplishment. Never forget that. I love you. See you guys later.